Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Coffee Weekly. My name is Sheldon, and I'm here with.
Otto, hey, nice to see you again.
And today we are going to be talking about managing procrastination, this thing that everybody has, or I believe everybody has, because I have it so much that it's unfair if other people don't have procrastination. So I choose to believe that everybody procrastinates. So do you procrastinate, Otto?
It would be very unfair to say no. No, I'm actually, this is something that has been chasing me my whole life. Something that I would say there was only two phases in my life where I felt I wasn't procrastinating. Otherwise, it's a constant state of mine. And fun fact, yeah, I actually gave a talk about this. That was in 2020, which was during one of those phases where I was using like a to-do list. I was using some tools. I had some patterns, something I would do, a habit, and giving a talk, how to forget things and still get them done. That was the title of the talk. And only to find myself like 2 or 3 months later with not doing exactly what I talked about. And it has been a hard time since then to get back, actually. But I found ways, some way in between them. That's why it's not called solving procrastination, but it's managing procrastination, because I believe that a small share of procrastination is actually okay and can sometimes be a relief for stress that is otherwise unnecessary. What about you? How's your procrastination level going?
Oh yeah. So first of all, I watched your talk. It was really nice. I really liked how you broke down the different types of storing information, and we might want to talk about this later on. But I feel like procrastination, for me, it comes in waves. So sometimes there are some moments of my life where I'm procrastinating pretty much everything. And then there are moments where I feel like I'm flying, delivering stuff, doing a lot of things, and feeling progress. And once I started feeling procrastination, I started to like research about it, because it's not a good feeling, at least not for me. So with a lot of like reading stuff online and YouTube videos and podcasts, I learned a few things. And one of the things is that procrastination, like other bad, quote unquote, bad feelings, because there's this notion that all the feelings have their purposes. So there's no bad or good feelings, because all of them have a function. And procrastination is one of them. Like if you're feeling that you're procrastinating, there's definitely something underneath. And then there are several things we can talk about along the episode. But one of the things, and I can give an actual example with the podcast, with kind of resulted on the recording of this subject. So basically, for the people that are following us every episode, you might have noticed that there were 5 episodes that I took like 5 weeks to upload them, and I uploaded them all at once. And basically, I was procrastinating because I didn't have a full vision of all the tasks I need to do from recording to uploading. And we wanted to add the intro sound to each podcast. So this adds an extra layer of friction to the process. And the process wasn't documented. So the activity unconsciously felt really, really big for me. So my brain was like, oh, you shouldn't do this. It's going to take a lot of time. You don't have time right now. Leave it for tomorrow. And tomorrow
How
never
did you solve
arrived.
it? Because I think this is a problem that many people have. What do you do?
So the first thing that I did was they call it eat the frog online. So basically you have to man up and sit down and do stuff. But then I started to, so I sat for a few hours and I uploaded all the episodes, but this time I documented all the steps. And then I noticed some patterns, and I created what people usually call as a RAM book, or basically a list of steps that I can reproduce this activity brainless. So now when we finish the recording, I kind of brainless just execute some tasks. And now the activity, the task itself is very visible. It has a beginning and a finish, and there's steps, and it's very scoped.
And
so
how
now
does
I
it
feel
how does it change the feeling for you?
Oh, now I feel that it's a very manageable thing to do, and I started tracking as well how much time I spend on this task, and usually it's from average in 45 minutes, because I also re-listen to the episode after I convert the file and create the notes, like the show notes. Now the episodes have a little description of the stuff that you talk about, and sometimes when I remember the links, I put the links. So this process takes about 45 minutes, and now I have a crystal clear vision of the tasks, and so far it's been successful. We are uploading with not a lot of delay.
Yes. I mean, maybe to add on to that as well, like I think it was last week we started to realize that, yeah, one issue we had was the time of uploading, because yeah, it's just extra work, and the nicer we want to make it, of course, the harder it gets. It's not just like upload, boom, done. And also we realized that creating, for example, cover images, yeah, we used to have my sister doing this, which I hopefully will be a guest on our episode one day. And I mean, she's studying, and you know, there's like some phases where she, I don't know, has exams, or she's, I don't know, she's procrastinating. I can't talk for her, but sometimes we didn't have the cover pictures. So she just gave us like a tool so we can do it ourselves. But then also, like, if you go on the channel right now, you can see that there's, I think, 6 episodes without a cover picture. So that's something that we also knew, like, oh, it's not like, you know, impossible tasks, but they do take time, and you need to know where and what's the title and where's the assets and where to upload it and what format and what number. And like, yeah, it's all the things together, they become like a task that feels a bit overwhelming. So what we did since last week and today, we went down to write down, or like to create a catalog of all the episodes we have in one digital format, which means, I mean, in our example, we use Notion, which is a tool, online to-do list tool on steroids, basically. It's a note-taking tool.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to, before we dive into this part, I just want to give a little bit more context on the cover, because there is one thing that is interesting here as well, which is automation. So I believe that before Otto's sister was doing each cover manually, one by one, but now she provided to us several objects that we can do the cover ourselves. So because every cover has our faces, a background, the name, so a few objects, and they are all the same on all pages. So now we have a semi-automated cover production thanks to her.
That is true. Like, yeah, I mean, we have power tools, so to say. At the end of the day, it's still manual, but you're right. Like, everything that we as techies can automate, we did, which I think is kind of nice. But then, yeah, next to of automation in that sense as well. Like, before, we used to have like a Google Doc, just like literally a document to write down all the episodes. In the beginning, it's fine. You have like 5 episodes, like 3 pages. But then, you know, after, this is episode 26 as far as I know, it gets very messy. You know, like, it's, oh, where is this? And oh my God. And it's like every time you do it very fast, then it's different than the week before. And yeah, like, suddenly something that should be structured episode becomes like one big blob of things that your brain has to parse, and it's like, oh my God, where do I find this? So yeah, we went into Notion, and this tool allows you, I mean, there's a free plan and everything. This allows you to create pages and use some formatting, like headings, lists, and images you could put it there and everything. But it also has a more advanced feature with something called databases, which is basically, you can have a page that you can have subpages, but each subpage is basically an entry in a list. And now the information becomes, or data becomes information, because now you can have them all in a schema. You can say all of them, they have an ID, all of them have a topic, all of them have a YouTube link, all of them have everything. And now you can do very great things with it. So for example, we can have them all in a view, we can sort them, we can have a board, we can have a calendar if we want, we can display like how long we've been doing this project. We can even write down ideas in to-do, we can put a status on them. So basically, we did invest more time than we did the last weeks. It actually took me, I think, 2 hours just to write down, click, copy, paste, save, click, copy, paste, save. And it felt like so annoying. I was like, oh my God, now I know why we have IT in this world, to automate things. It was like, oh no, I did a typo there. Oh, I copied the wrong link. Oh my God, it's absolutely horrifying. But it was worth it because now it's done. And every time now we have a new episode, I mean, how long did it take us? Like 15 seconds to create a new element, because now the template is there, structure is there. So to make to finalize this to a point is that there is billions of tools out there for free, good tools, advanced tools, simple tools. And if you find a tool that fits our suitcase, so for us, the requirement was like, we need to collaborate on it. So we need multiple people need to be accessed. It should be online. So if I'm on my phone, I can access it, or on my laptop. And it should have, it should have some structure, because just a document, a Google document, it has, there is no semantic structure. You can have headings and everything and has an outline, but inside of each, it doesn't force you. You can go crazy, which can be good sometimes. But when it comes to aggregating multiple things, or, of all 25 episodes, how much guests did we have? Well, good luck. You don't have a structure. So then in this case, Notion was a good tool because they provide a lot of tools for that, and we can use them, and now they help us. And this is basically, I mean, it sounds simple, but choose the right tool for the right job. And I think I feel much better, and my level of procrastination, at least my feeling of trying to push something in a way and be like, I don't want to do this, has reduced a bit, I would say, quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think I can summarize in my head what you just said regarding Notion. Is basically have your information structured, and regardless of the tool. I've seen people using pen and paper, and they have a system with pen and paper. There is even a very famous one which is called bullet journal, where you have codes and stuff like that. So you structure, you're using pen and paper, but you're still structuring your data. And this also reminds me of I believe is the second habit from the 7 habits of highly effective people. And basically in the habit, in the book, there is an exercise where basically you're asked to compare. I'm not gonna spoil it because the exercise is quite nice, but basically one picture has information in an unorganized way, and the other is on an organized way. So you can see how much improvement you achieve when you have your data organized. And I hope that I instigated some curiosity on you to check out this exercise. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about Notion.
Maybe to move forward. So I think what we just described was a process that, it's not really work, it's not really hobby, but it's something in between. It is a project that, is more than just, oh, I have to reply to this letter, I have to pay this bill or something. Maybe we should start on this topic as well. So if I may ask you, Sheldon, when it comes to your private to-dos or things you have to do, all these fucking annoying things that life slaps in your face constantly all the time, how do you solve them? How do you manage them?
Sure. So for a long time, I started having a notes file. And long time, this is like even before I had access to internet, because I had access to a computer first, then to internet. So I was using like this offline file, and it got really huge. And till nowadays, I still use this file now and then. I still use pen and paper now and then. But gradually, I started moving to a more structured and also granular note taking with several files, hierarchy, folders, and whatnot. I tried a couple of tools. I think I tried Evernote, Dropbox Paper, Asana, Trello, and now everything is on Notion. And what I have, and this is in terms of tools and systems, where I have now is something similar to what people called second brain. It's a strategy that a lot of people are using over the internet. I'm not going to talk much about it because I don't know a lot about the intricacies of how to implement a second brain. But basically what I'm doing is like trying to dump all the information that I have in a single concentrated place. And also the information should be linked whenever possible so that I know where one thing goes to the other thing and so on and so forth. Now, in terms of process, I first try to organize everything in my head. And obviously these started failing more and more over time. And now I try to resort to some tools like to-dos on my phone, Google Calendar. And now lately, over the past couple of years, all the devices that I have are Apple devices. So I'm relying on some tools provided by Apple. For example, Apple Notes. Whenever I need to take a quick note, I use Apple Notes. Then I recycle all the stuff that I have on Apple Notes and translate them. It's kind of like an ETL for people that are data scientists. So I do a manual ETL from Notes to Notion, and then I have the information structured. And as for to-dos, same thing. The to-dos, they have to-dos inside some pages of my Notion. And I use reminders as to-dos on Apple. For example, for groceries, when I go to the supermarket, can you believe I used to have all the lists in my head, and often I forgot to buy things. So now I use a to-do list on Apple reminders, but basically any app helps. And lastly, now that things are getting more and more complex, like life is like entropy, it only gets worse. So I'm seeing that I'm managing, like in one day, I have to do 5 things, or even more than that. So things are getting more and more complex. And now I'm trying to adapt strategies to run a company, to run my own life. So I'm learning how to... Yeah, so I'm learning how to build my personal roadmap, how to create OKRs for myself, and do retrospectives, weekly, monthly, stuff like that. It's still in the works. It's not something very solid, but it's something that I'm looking forward to implementing in my own life.
I mean, this is, I think, a very interesting topic by itself, but also this triggered an immediate response with me because I'm kind of going through the same phase right now where I'm thinking like, okay, I mean, at work, things are super structured. In my private life right now, things are getting a bit better, but they have been in the last years a complete mess with no structure. And I've just followed the approach like, fix the biggest fire. That was like my approach for a long while. And although it's not the most effective and I missed many things, there was many invoices I forgot to pay and stuff like that, that I had to pay an extra fee or something. I actually realized that my ability to recognize things has become better, because before I was writing down everything. I was like, oh, I can't remember this, I can write it down. But now when I go shopping groceries, I can actually remember most of the things that I wanted to buy. I'm like, I basically go through my apartment in my head while I'm in the store, and okay, this is what I didn't have this morning, this is what I didn't have last week. If I want to cook this, then this is missing. I do, of course, forget one or two things, but it's not like I forget half of the things. So that's kind of nice. But now is the point where, yeah, I should stop procrastinating and see if there's maybe like a quick win or like a solution that, you know, maybe takes a bit of like discipline or a bit of work, but if I see the reward and I can convince myself that it's good, then let's say the organism that I am has a reason to use it. Because, you know, if you have let's say a bigger goal, yeah, you want to reach a savings goal, you want to get a new job or promotion, or you want to move to a country, like things that are, you know, big projects. It's a very ambitious thing to do in the first place. And you might be like, okay, I'm going to rock this. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to be super crazy. And like, yeah, you can probably like withstand this pressure and this motivation for a long time. But the way I'm thinking about this is more, I kind of want to make it easy for myself that, you know, let's say, I don't know, something shitty happens, or I don't know, I'm broke or I forgot to pay something, and I cannot guarantee that I'm feeling good, that I still have a drive to do it. Because if I rely on high motivation, well, it's fine if it's fine, But if it's not fine, then it's absolutely terrible because all the structure falls apart. So in that sense, I'm trying to actually take smaller steps. So for example, right now, like my state a few months ago was like, I didn't write down anything. I constantly forgot things. My constant model was like, if something is important, call me or message me directly. Otherwise, I will probably not do it. And I mean, let me tell you, it worked 95% fine. I was like, oh my God, why did I stress all the time? It works. It's not perfect. I mean, there's many messages I still haven't replied to after almost a year. Sorry for those people still. I will get there one day. But it is, what I did then, okay, what's the simple step I can do? And I did something like you did, like the notes file. It's not a file, but in Notion, I have one page, which is called to-dos or something. And it's one super long page where just like, I go there, write down something, and then I scroll there, do something, and it's there. And, maybe one day it's 3 important things. And at the end of the day, maybe I just get to do one, but at least one is done. So that's kind of fun. But think about the next step. So what are the things you were thinking about? Like if you think about how a company runs projects and tasks, what do you want to adopt or try to adopt for your projects and you as a company, so to say?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I'm doing is identifying all the facets of my life. So to give an example, relationships. So what was and then relationships on itself is a whole thing to organize. Like from my friends, what was the previous time that I talked with them? Should I reach out to them again and stuff like that? This one for me is the worst that I need to work on, because I tend to never say hello to people after a while. But I think it's like an effort that I want to have, an active effort to maintain relationships. And coffee shots like this one, but not recorded, hopefully. And other thing like financial, for example, and then inside financial as well as a whole thing, because I have my current savings, future investments, budgets, and so on and so forth. So I'm progressing on that as well. Then there's like intellectual growth, and then inside of each area, personal growth, areas of interest. Like I like etymology and philosophy, for example. Should I spend time studying them, or should I just passively listening to the podcasts like I'm doing? How do I organize my intellectual, my content consuming, and so on and so forth? So those are a few areas.
Okay, but if I may ask, like now you have 10 areas. How do you structure them? Like, do you write them down? Do you draw a picture? Do you make a list? Like, how do you do it?
Most of the things are plain text. I use very, very little of Notion's features. So I usually have a page for each of these items, and then I link those pages if necessary. Yeah, so that would be the thing.
Okay, but I mean, because I can add that this is already quite a good thing that I used to do, is that the moment you create one page, so you click on a page, then you're there, click on a page, then you're there, I realized that this is already like you enter a context. And once you're in the context, you cut off everything else and you focus your mind like, today I am the working Otto, today I'm the friends Otto, and like you take different personas of yourself. And I can say this is already like a structure that people can use, and they will probably make you more productive. It's similar like if you think about context in real life, if you go to work, you are in the context and your brain will just start working because you've been, is your laptop there, you just work. Or if you go to the gym, well, guess what we're gonna do, right? It's a very stupid examples, but it visualizes that we have parallels between real life primitives or like concepts that we can apply to digital tools that our brain might react to. And so that's, for example, for me, why I cannot work out at home, because I don't get into the working out mode. I will never be able to push myself to the limits when I know the couch is like 5 steps away. I will not be able to do it. I need to put like I don't know what they call it, like the horse things where they can't see left and right. They're good. So good concept. Anything else that you were thinking about to do? Any process or something?
Yeah, I think that, and also this could be my closing thoughts as well. organizing your information is something that I like to be as granular as possible, because then you can, as you said, like invest on each persona on each time. My ultimate goal is to also label my time, my awaken time, and then I could run a graph to see how much time I'm spending on stuff, and if this reflects with my values and with the stuff that I said I would spend time. For example, relationships, the example I gave. Let's say I set a goal of spending half an hour per week to send messages to people. Then at the end of my week, I should be able to retrospectively see if I spent time with that or not. But all in all, because this is quite complex, I don't even know if I will ever achieve this unicorn level of organization. But the idea is basically to bring awareness. So as you said, like when I took a note, I could remember in the supermarket, because the activity of taking a note makes the stuff to come to out of subconscious and up to awareness, and then you can play with this information that you have on your brain. So the idea is that you try to put down as much as possible, and very importantly, revisit the information and recycle information, have summaries. I try to do some like weekly and monthly summaries of what I've done and the areas of my life that I want to improve and stuff like that. So the idea would be to use those to constantly update and feedback as two separate words, new information and detect patterns. And with that, hopefully, you should procrastinate less, because you're going to know more about yourself and know more what are the things that are causing procrastination, so you can target the root cause, not the symptom. That's my closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's much to process, but I think applying this will help everyone to manage their procrastination. There was one thing that you mentioned that also I would like to talk to is you were saying that, okay, I actually lost it, I'm sorry. Typical me. No, but now I have it again. So basically, if you think about something that is like really big, if you think of a big goal, you were saying like you have this unicorn goal, and actually one of the things that helped me is very simple: lowering your expectations. So I accepted that I will never be, or I will never always be, in this phase of pure productivity, and I don't want to be, because I mean, I know I'll be more productive, but I will have less time for just sitting on the fucking couch and chilling and doing nothing. So, and I kind of want that. This is what I decided for what I want for well-being. So, and now suddenly my pressure expectations lowered like crazy much. I'm just like, I just want to at least not miss paying bills. I at least want to reply to friends, and I at least want to do the things I promised to do. Everything else, I kind of don't care, because I know that by itself, I do enough that things are going well. So I don't have to stress super much. If I work out a bit, if I'm a nice person, I think things are going quite well. But in that sense, yeah, we can link the talk that I was giving there. If there's one thing to take away, is, as mentioned, like Shai mentioned, create a digital brain. It can be on paper, it doesn't have to be a computer, but start writing things down, because the way I feel it, when you get like a task is thrown at you, it stays with you and causes like trouble. But if you write it down, this already halves the trouble, because it is already somewhat processed. And even, let's say you forget everything, it is still in a medium that you can always like fetch, and you can always read it about it. And then that's one first step, the first half step. And I recommend doing that today. After this episode is very soon over, in a few seconds. When this is over, write down on wherever to do, Apple Notes, Android Notes, a piece of paper, write down 3 to-dos for today. Just if you get one done, it's a good thing. That's what I can recommend to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of stuff we can talk about this, especially about perfectionism and our emotions and mental health. And maybe we can leave this for the next episode.
Future
for
episodes,
this one,
yes.
see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.